Tonight I'll be speaking on the mindset of an excellent achiever. You see, now some of us, when we hear excellence, I think it's a word that has been used a lot. But we understand and we underestimate what it really means to be excellent. Even if you check the dictionary, I think excellent means to be outstanding or to be extremely good. So anyone that is thinking or trying to call himself excellent, do you know what it means to be outstanding? You have to be outstanding and extremely good. So what does this mean? It means that if you are a person that wants to be excellent, like you want to build that the mindset of an excellent achiever, you can't be mediocre. And I'm going to be throwing this to us right now. Everything you can do right now, someone else can do it. Someone else can do it better. Everything you think you want to achieve, someone else also wants to achieve it. Everything you can dream of, someone else also is dreaming about it. Everything that you find yourself building, someone else somewhere is doing the same thing. So it's like we are not different from any other person. Literally, you think you are the only one that knows the thing that you know. You think you are the only one that have experienced the difficulties that you've experienced. You think you are the only one that has the advantages that you have. There are millions of other people out there that have the same things, the same opportunities, the same limitations, the same thing that you have. But the mindset of an excellent person is what differentiates us. Let me tell you guys, it is the mindset that differentiates us. Don't think your experience is unique. It's the mindset that differentiates us. And that the mindset of an excellent person is a mindset of someone that is outstanding. So you see, you can't be an excellent person and do the same exact thing everybody is doing. You can't be an excellent person and give the same amount of inputs as every other person. Like there needs to be, you need to outperform every other person. There are three major ways for you to stand out in this economy. Like there are three major ways for you to succeed. Three unique ways. Number one, either you're born in success. So a lot of us were not born in success. Some people already had the advantage. But either you're already, maybe your parents were successful or you're lucky or something. Either you're that, and I'm very sure a lot of us are not that. Or either you are smarter than every other person. And the truth is that you can't deceive ourselves that we are the smartest. You think you're smart, you've not seen smarter people. There are people that will outsmart you naturally. The last way that we can stand out, because excellent achievers are people that they stand out from the crowd. And the last way that we can stand out is to outperform every other person. So which means we need to do the inputs that we make. If everybody is doing something 10 times, yours should be 100 times, because that is your own unfair advantage. Stop thinking that your advantage is the things that you have. Stop thinking that your advantage is the things that you know. Stop thinking your advantage is the people that you know. There are people that know people more than you, and they will cheat you in that system. The only way you can become excellent is to outperform. And I want us to start having this mindset of excellent achievers that you have to be extra. I think another word I can use is extraordinary. Some of us want to be extraordinary. This world now, in this I'm a very tech person. I'm a tech enthusiast, and in this tech age, everybody has access to the same level of information. You think school was an advantage. Right now, everything that you can learn in school, your certificates that you can learn in school can literally be formatted in ChatGPT right now. Like someone can get everything you learned in your 4 years of university right now from ChatGPT. If you think I'm joking, browse the thing that you studied on ChatGPT. It will give you the exact thing that you spent 4 years to do. So it's not a unique advantage anymore. So that means that for you to have excellence, you have to start by thinking that you have to start with the mindset of understanding that you need to outperform everyone. And outperforming everyone means that you need to do what people are not willing to do. Now, this is the difference. A lot of human beings dream. We are dreamers. Human beings, God has blessed us. We are visionaries. We are dreamers. Ask your nearest best friend, hey guy, what do you think you want to be in the next 10 years? He will tell you his dream. His dreams are wonderful. Like you even be wowed by his dream. Every human being has a dream. But what makes the difference is that a lot of us are not willing to put in the work. it's very easy to beat people once you can put in 10 times the work that an average person is doing. So for you to understand it, it's not negotiable. If you want to be excellent in your mindset, you have to be willing to put in 10 times the work, outperform every single person in your skill. Now, I want to drag us to something that is very important. Excellent achievers are people that work. They are not just people that think. There's a huge difference between just coming up with ideas, having big visions, telling your friends, family, or some of us are in this community, like want to change our lives. There's what they call mental masturbation. So mental masturbation is literally you, like trying to make yourself feel that you're doing something. So being in this community, being in some of us are in 20 different communities in the name of we're trying to change ourselves. But the truth is that the thing that will actually make you stand out is action and the willingness to do action consistently over time. So number one is action. Number two, the willingness, that's the mindset to do action. A little child can see a small gutter, and even though that gutter is deep, the little child sometimes can attempt to jump that gutter. Why? While an adult can look at that gutter and be like, no, this is not, it's about the mindset. The adult is considering every single factor that could go wrong. The little child is ignorant to a single factor that could go wrong. And that makes it that the little child will attempt jumping it even though he can't. And that's where we need to bring our minds to. Not ignorance, but the act of eliminating the things that don't matter so that we can carry out the action. That is what I call the willingness to act, the willingness to carry out action. Eliminating the factors that stop you from carrying out the action. So excellent achievers are people that carry out action. They have the heart, they have the mind of carrying out the action. They have the willingness. They build systems to ensure that they carry out the action consistently over time. I want every one of us to understand that action is important. The mindset towards the action is important. That's two. The consistency of that action is important. That's three. The time frame of that action is important. So first of all, you carry out, let me use an example of like me in my community, High Signals. I'm pushing us into consistently posting our values online and all that. So first of all, the ability to even post one post is an action, right? But posting one post does not make anything. The mindset to keep posting it even though you are not seeing any views, that's the willingness to carry out the action. That's two, right? The ability to build systems to be consistent that you are posting every single day, that's three. But all those these three does not guarantee success. You have to do it over time. So imagine you posting every single day for the next 365 days. That is the mindset of an achiever, an excellent achiever. Those are the things that people are not willing to do. Everyone can post online, but not everyone has the willingness to post online even when they are getting 0 views. Some people can post online even when they are getting 0 views, but not every one of them can post consistently every day for the next 365 days. Some people can be posting every day, but they don't have the willingness to do it for a long period of time. If you put these 4 actors into action, you will be excellent. Think about anything that you need to do. Is it reading books? Is it becoming a good video editor? Is it becoming a good programmer, graphic designer? Think about it. The action, the mindset, the consistency, the time. Those 4 things naturally will make you stand out in anything. And this is the mindset that we need to have. We need to carry along. If these 4 things are not in place, you cannot be excellent. If those 4 things are not in place, there is no way you can be excellent. Let me buttress more on the mindset, which is one of the things that we're talking about, the mindset of an excellent achiever. I have learned in my journey that someone that is excellent is not excellent by chance. He is excellent deliberately. I repeat, someone that is excellent is not excellent by chance. He's excellent deliberately. That means every single step he takes was thought out. It wasn't coincidence. There are some people that are successful by coincidence, but the truth is that you can't count on luck. and coincidence to be successful. You have to factor in deliberate action. And what does it mean to be deliberate in your action? Number one is by setting out goals. A lot of us know about setting goals, and a lot of people set goals, yes. But number two is by documenting and calculating the steps to those goals. Bringing yourself to that stage that everything that happens in your life is documented. I learned the skill of documenting my life, and it has changed my life. When I mean documenting, I can show you right now in my room. I have here's my journal. Here's another book that I write down all the business plans and everything. I have 4 or 5 different places that I document things. I have a whiteboard in my room where I put out all the things that I plan to achieve. I even have 2 whiteboards. I don't joke with documentation. And what documentation does is that it gives you your clarity of mind. So when you say you want to do something, first document how you're going to do that thing. Write it down. When you start to learn how to document everything that you do, now I'm not talking only about documenting the things you want to do, but also documenting the things that you have done. So this is how it goes, right? You have a plan. You have, okay, I want to be posting content consistently, maybe next 30 days. I'm using content as an example because that's what I've been ruminating about recently. So you want to be posting content about your skill for the next 30 days. All of a sudden, you started posting it, but things were not working out. You document along the journey and you document at the end of the journey. So you document at the beginning of the journey, I'm planning the next 30 days to achieve this kind of thing. Let me buttress what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to tell us about the mindset of achievers. The mindset of excellent achievers are people that are deliberate with their actions. So they are calculating every step. So you calculate the beginning so that you have an approximate direction. Because if you have speed, but you don't have direction, you can run in the wrong direction and eventually find out that your speed did not matter. So speed is not as important as direction. So you have a plan, you write it down. Now you have a direction. Now you start carrying out actions along with that direction. Don't wait till you have achieved the thing. Document as you go. So every day you're not measuring your steps. I read a book. The book is all about how an aircraft keeps adjusting its way along the journey. So if an aircraft takes off from the airport right now, it has put its coordinates to where it's going. It has locked in. Before the aircraft takes off, the pilot puts in the coordinates and all that, and he's about to take off. Once the aircraft is on the air, it doesn't mean that because he's in the right direction, he will remain in that direction. He will remain going in that direction. So there are many factors. Now, this is where I'm going to talk about pressure here. There are many factors that can take the aircraft off course. We have what they call wind shear. We have turbulence. We have the storms. We have the pilot's input. As the pilot might be shaking his hand, a little stare out of direction is, even if it is 1 degree off coordinates, over time, it will become a big difference. So what happens is that every time along the journey of the aircraft, the aircraft itself readjusts itself to the coordinates. So it always recalibrates along the way. So an aircraft will take off in Abuja and is going to Lagos. It might look like a straight line, but every time along the way, the aircraft recalibrates to make sure that it is on direction. Why? Because there are so many external forces trying to bring it off course. So if you said you want to achieve something in the next 30 days, you set your goal at the beginning. If you don't consistently recalibrate yourself along the journey, by the end of that 30 days, you can find yourself off direction. And this is what external pressure does to us. There are many things that we've said we want to achieve, and we started to achieve it. It was great. Some of us, this is a new year, we have New Year resolution and all that. But we don't know that we need to constantly check our direction every single time. And the best way to constantly check your direction every single time is document. At certain points or at certain milestones along your journey, ask yourself questions like, am I on the right course to achieve the goal I set beginning of the year? Is there anything I need to adjust? Because sometimes you might start a journey, and realize, oh, this thing does not make sense. I'm doing the wrong thing. And the fact that you are always asking yourself questions along the journey gives you a chance. So sometimes external pressure can come in. I'm still using content as an example, but this applies to every other thing. So maybe you're posting content, then all of a sudden your work now started to become difficult. And you now realize that it's going to be difficult for me to become consistent in my posting for the next 30 days. You sit down in your drawing board and say, okay, what can I do that can ensure that I can continue this journey? Okay, I now realize I used to post these long videos. Maybe I need to shorten it. Maybe like you recalibrate so that you can be consistent and still achieve your goals. And gradually, that will documenting along the journey helps you to understand where you are. So your destination does not surprise you. So you document at the beginning of the journey, that's your goal planning and all that. You document in the midst of it. That is what there's a word I'm trying to look for. It's like you're reminiscing on what you've done so far. Then at the end of the journey, you also now look at what you have achieved, and you will document the success of it and the failure. So you have the success, you look at the things that you are meant to do better, and you have the failures. So anything you want to do, if you put this mindset of deliberate action, not just action, but deliberate, consistent action. And deliberate, consistent action is not by the action, it's by carefully planning out every step of the way. And my best recommendation of deliberate action is documentation. Everything you are doing, write it down. It happened to me, I think last week. I found myself overpressured by a lot of work and a lot of stuff. I had to just open my book and like dump everything that was going on in my mind on my journal. I just dumped everything and was like, okay, what is going on? And just give yourself 30 minutes of that. You will realize that the thing that is actually disturbing you is not much of a big deal. And you realize that there is a solution for it. This is the mindset of excellent achievers. It's all about deliberate action. So the action I'm talking about when I spoke about action is deliberate action, conscious action. Every decision that you make must be thought out. Never make any decision out of emotions, but out of facts. I repeat, never make decisions out of emotions, but out of facts. Let me give an example, like those ones that do a lot of relationship kind of thing. Maybe someone is toasting you, and you want to maybe think of getting into a relationship with that person. If you make decisions based on your emotions because you love the person or you have feelings for the person, sometimes it will lead to tragedy because you enter a relationship that has a lot of red flags. Why? Because you overlooked the facts and only made decisions based on your emotion. And this also happens in every other thing. Some of us, we want to achieve things in our lives and we are like, okay, maybe someone tells you invest in crypto and you will get 10 times much. And because you are thinking about the money that you get, you didn't do your facts checking. And all those things are what makes that these are the little things. Let me tell you guys, it is little things that compound that makes a difference between excellent achievers and mediocre minders. It is very little things. And these little things, especially deliberacy, consciousness. Now, the world of social media is taking away our consciousness. A lot of us find ourselves scrolling through social media on a whole day, and you realize you don't even know what went on that day. You don't even know what's happened, how things, like the more and more social media and this modern age is taking us away from that conscious mindset. And the mind of an excellent achiever is someone that is conscious and deliberate. He is not taken by chance. And whenever he is placed under pressure, he knows what to do. Now, this will lead me to talking about pressure. One of the things that happened to a lot of us. This is why, I don't know if you've had this saying that says, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. For those ones that don't know me, I was once in the military. Some of you guys that know me, you know that I was in the military. So one thing about us in the military back then was that we go for fights and operations. But there's something that always happens. And that was that when you enter the fight, a battlefield with the enemy, all of a sudden, it feels like everything you guys have planned in the beginning suddenly scatters. Once bullets start flying over your head, once things, pressure everywhere, once explosions, anything that is going on, you completely forget your formation, you forget your guys, you forget a lot of things scatter. But something happens. At that point, our training kicks in. And what is the training? Before we went for those operations, we practice over and over again some of the things that we plan to do. And we do what they call what if. So what if the enemy shoots a tank? What if we have a sniper here? Or what if we have an RPG coming from here? In the camp, before we left the camp, we've already planned what could happen. What if this thing happens, what we'll do? If this thing happens, what we'll do? If all our vehicles were exploded, what we'll do? If our commander was taken down, what we'll do? Like, we do what they call what if. So we will bring out all the scenarios that a wrong thing could happen, and then we will think of what we could do in those scenarios. So now when we enter the battlefront and everything now goes upward, everywhere is scattered, the commotion is much, our training kicks in. You might forget the exact details of everything, but you will know where to run to. You know that, okay, my commander should be by the right. You can't see him, but you might know that he's by the right. All of a sudden, the things that you've practiced so much over time unconsciously comes into play in the battle. And those things are the things that will eventually make you survive at the end of the battle. So imagine if we enter the battlefront without conscious, deliberate planning. When the pressure comes in, no one will even know. Even if you forget even if you try and remember what you didn't practice what to do, so you don't even know what to do, and the commotion will get worse. And this is the same thing that happens to us in real life. A lot of us excellent achievers, another thing that differentiates us is how we act under pressure when things are going wrong, when things are going not in our direction. How we act, how we respond. And the only way we can respond is the way we've trained ourselves over time to respond consistently. So if you've been doing something consistently, when something wrong or something goes wrong, you know what to do. The problem is a lot of us don't plan for contingencies. We don't plan for things that will go wrong. And not just planning for things that will go wrong. We allow ourselves that there's no deliberate plan. There's nothing that you can think about when things go wrong. So a lot of us find ourselves under pressure and we break because there's no conscious, deliberate planning around the things that we do. Now, I want to talk about excuses. Excuses is one of, I myself, I made it a thing for myself that limitations are not my obstacles, but they are my motivation. I never look at a limitation as an obstacle, but a motivation. Yeah, some of us, we don't have the best assets, the best gadgets. We don't have the money to do the things that we want to do. We don't have, nobody is supporting us. We don't have the friends, the family. We don't have the things that other people have. So we feel limited. And the problem is that a lot of mediocre people, when they feel limited, it now becomes an obstacle. Not even an obstacle, it becomes a wall for them. And once it becomes a wall, they feel, I can't do this because they will find something to put the blame. I can't record videos because my camera is bad. I can't do this because I don't have this. Or I can't do, let me tell you guys, there is always an excuse not to carry out action. I repeat, there is not only one excuse, there are multiple excuses not to carry out action. There are multiple excuses. You will never lack excuses. So what makes a difference is when those limitations now become your motivation. So when you find out that, okay, you don't have the sufficient resources to be able to carry out something, that will motivate you to work 10 times as hard. When I started video editing back then, one of my challenges was my laptop was bad and I didn't have lights. And there were many things I had issues with when I was doing video editing when I started. And I was like, when I'm applying for jobs, video editing gigs, I'm seeing guys that have huge setups. They have wonderful stuffs. And I'm like, how will I compete? Like, some of the international guys that I want to work where they are working, they have access to internet 24/7. They have lights. I don't have. But I had to find ways around it. I remember back then, I'll carry my laptop. I don't know if you guys know all these places that they used to charge phone when all these Hausa guys that used to charge phone for you when there's no lights or something like that. Carry my laptop to those kind of places and pay them to to sit down there to use my laptop and work because I didn't have light at home. So I'll carry my laptop to some kind of weird places. I'll carry my laptop to offices. There was a time I carried my laptop to a bank to work just because I didn't have access to light. Eventually, later on, I was able to save up to buy solar or a power station for my laptop eventually. But because I didn't have light consistently, it didn't serve as a limitation. I could have sat down and be like, I think video editing cannot work for me because I don't have light consistently. So I could have sat down. And that is what a lot of mediocre people do. When there's a limitation, they look at it as a boundary that they cannot pass. And thereby, they will now go and be looking for things that are easier, that don't have limitations. When there's a limitation, instead of making it an excuse, make it a motivation for your action. So thereby, if your competitors are having more gadgets than you have or more money than you have, outwork them. Do something that let that be a motivation that if I can pass them, if without my resources, like it should challenge you. That's the mindset of high achievers. It should challenge you. And this year, 2026, I want us to have this excellent mindset. Remember how I defined excellence? Excellence are people that are outstanding. You do things that others are not willing to do. And this mindset, it all starts from the mind. Deliberate thinking, deliberate actions over time. A lot of us that are in this community want to put action. There will be a lot of reasons for you not to. Excuses are enough. Like there are a lot of it. There'll be a lot of reasons not to do anything. But what will make the difference is when you look at those excuses as a motivation to, like that excuse should be your bandana. Like it should be the thing that you wave as, I am proud that I have this limitation and I will prove that this limitation is not going to stop me from achieving my goal. And don't just think about it, say it. Open your mouth and say it. When people ask, why are you so confident about, you tell them, I know I don't have this. I don't have the money. I don't have the resources. I don't have the best phones. I don't have the best whatsoever they have. And that is the reason why I am motivated to work harder than them, to outperform them in their own game. They are playing the game of marketing. Outperform people in their own game. Anything that they are doing, multiply it. And I know it might be easy. Some of you might be like, Samuel, it's easy for you to say. It's not easy to do. And that is where systems come in place. I'm going to talk about systems. Never rely on motivation. Never rely on emotions. Build systems that ensure you do the things you want to do. Because over my years, I've realized that you can't rely on your heart. Your heart will fail you. You can't rely on your heart. Your heart will fail you. You can't rely on just the motivation. Even if, God forbid, let's say your motivation was that they killed your mother or something, and that's your motivation. At a particular point, even that motivation might not be enough to carry out the actions that you want to carry out. So, how do you go about it? You build systems that ensure that you carry out the actions that you want to carry out. You build systems. And systems like this community SMS is a wonderful system to ensure that you keep yourself accountable towards executing the goals that you want to do. Because motivation is not enough. When I'm talking about one of the first things, whenever I am motivated to do something or an idea comes to my head that I want to achieve something, one of the first things I think about or I ask myself is, what system can I put in place to ensure that I achieve this goal? How can I keep myself accountable to achieve this goal? And I have found out that the most powerful main system is human beings. When it comes to you on your own, you made the rules. You made the rules that you are trying to make, the goals that you are the one that created the rules. And you can break the rules by yourself. And there is no consequence because it is you that knows about it. And you broke the rules and no one else knows about it. There is no consequence, there is no punishment, there's no reward for it. So you build systems that are external, outside of you. You build systems that ensure that without your motivation, you will still carry out the action. And that's where communities like this come in. That's where accountability systems come in. That's where publicity come in. Communities like this teach you that, not just teach you, but when you see other people doing things, when other people are aware about the things that you want to do, we as human beings, we are beings of pride. So we like to find reasons to boast. So if achieving that thing is a reason to boast, you find yourself always trying to achieve that thing so that you can boast. That's how we are. We are kind of in that nature of we like to find reasons to boast. And boast, you can't boast to yourself. You have to boast to another human being. If you're boasting to yourself, I'm wondering what you're telling yourself. Because everything that you want to tell yourself has already known yourself before you can tell yourself, like, who are you deceiving? So, but to other people, we can kind of deceive people. But it's not about deception. It's about building systems that ensures. So when someone else is aware, communities like this give you room to be held accountable to ensure that you achieve your goal. So let me go back to the pilot system. The aircraft, when the aircraft is on the air, there are many fail safes that ensures that the aircraft does not crash. And that is why, they will say an aircraft is one of the safest way of travel right now. So if an aircraft takes off, if, for example, the pilot sleeps off, maybe he sleeps, dozes off, there's a system that another pilot is in that place. If the two pilots are off, there are four engineers actually. And those four engineers can pilot a plane. And if all of them are off, if all of them are down, the aircraft does not go down immediately. It still keeps its steering. Why? Because we have autopilot. We have many things that keeps the aircraft on board. If one of the, maybe the manual control is bad, there are other controls that keep the air. If one of the engines is down, there's another engine. If the two engines are down, the aircraft will still keep gliding. What I'm trying to say is that they've created multiple systems that ensure that no matter what, this aircraft still needs to keep on the air. So if an aircraft crashes, it means that either deliberately someone made it crash, or there have been multiple systems that have been broken for it to crash. So the same thing about your life. You have to put multiple guardrails, not one. You can't rely on yourself alone. You have to put yourself, someone else, an alarm system, an accountability system, a publicity, like different fail-safe systems to ensure that you achieve that goal. And if you really want to achieve that goal, you will put all those systems on ground. That is what makes the difference. A lot of us, we put our eggs on one basket and expect, especially we trust ourselves too much. The truth is that you have failed yourself before. And you have not failed yourself once, you failed yourself several times. So you have to ensure that you don't rely on yourself alone. And human beings are not an island. God has made it that we have other people. Please, if you want to have the mindset, if you want to outperform, you have to ensure that there are people holding your hands, or there are systems that you've put in place to ensure that you carry out the right action. And now the last thing I'm going to be talking about is environment. Excellent achievers are always in the right environment. Not just right environment. There are two major mediums at which, in biology, they will tell us we have five senses. Yes, we have five senses. We have our eyes, we have our ears, we have our nose, we have our mouth, we have our skin. But the inputs to your brain, the inputs to your mind are only two: eyes and ears. I call this environmental sanitation. So environmental sanitation means that the things that you see and the things that you hear all help to build your mind towards the goal that you want to achieve. So if you want to, I'm using content as an example. If you want to build yourself around like the things that you're posting online, you have to consistently feed your mind, your eyes, and your ears with things that move you to that direction. And it is important because your mind needs to constantly be in that state of, like, it needs to be constantly reminded and motivated. And one of the things I've seen that works for me as a person is to constantly feed my eyes and my ears with things that can help me become excellent in my life. And how can you do this? Number one, by reading books. I saw that SMS has launched a book stuff. Like, that's excellent. Reading books is non-negotiable if you are trying to be excellent. Reading books, listening to podcasts, being in a room where people talk about excellence, being around, surrounding your environment, the things you hear, the people you see, the people you've talked to and interact with. Those kind of environments would bring out excellence, because let me tell you guys, it is very difficult for you to be excellent in a bad environment. So if you want to be excellent but you never read books, you want to be excellent but the only thing you listen to were entertainment and maybe worldly music, and you want to be excellent but nothing that is entering your mind is building you towards excellence, and you want to be excellent by just motivation alone, you will fail. That is how life has built it. The same way a plant cannot survive in a wrong soil. You can't survive in a wrong environment. You can't shine in a wrong environment. It will not work. Sometimes, if you want to be excellent, you have to uproot yourself sometimes from the physical environment that you find yourself in. Even if you can't uproot yourself, maybe your family members are not positive towards your goals, but you really want to achieve your goals. You can still be in that environment, but find yourself locked in away from that environment. How do you do that? By listening and watching things. The internet has made it easy that you can be in Nigeria but be living like someone that is in China. Why? Because you can be listening, reading, and feeding your mind with things in China, and you are in Nigeria physically, but your mind is not here. The internet, not just the internet, the digital world, books have made it that you can cross the oceans to places that you've never been, but your mind can be there. And this is the mindset of an excellent achiever. You make your environment, you build your environment around where you want to be. Even like me now, I am always in my room. I don't have anyone that I stay with much in my room and everything. But the people I listen to, Alex Moses, Dan Mattel, I listen to a lot of great entrepreneurs. It feels like I am there with them, and that's because I've made my environment in a way that it is refreshing. My online environment, especially my digital environment, my digital footprint towards that mindset. So you can't be excellent in a wrong environment. You have to build your environment. You have to sanitize your environment from the things that are not carrying you to your goals. The things I can't overemphasize this or underemphasize this, or how do I put it? But let me not lie to you. The things that you constantly feed your mind with, the communities that you are, the environment that you are, the people that you surround yourself with, is a huge factor to whether you will succeed or not as an excellent achiever. It's a huge factor. Let me just drop a story about myself. As I said, I was in the military, and when I joined the military initially, I joined with an ignorance mindset back then, and I found myself in wrong environments, wrong set of peers, to the extent that some of you might find this surprising, but I used to drink, I used to smoke, I used to womanize. Everything that you could think that could go wrong with a normal person, I did that while I was in the military. But the time in which I decided to take my life serious, it was that time. Everywhere I go, I had a cigarette packet. I'm not joking. I had a cigarette packet that I always carried. That's how bad it was. But when I decided, okay, I think it's time to make a shift, it was difficult for me to make a shift in my environment because my environment is toxic. It's filled with everything, and I can't run away from these are my buddies, these are the guys I fight with. So how will I? And that's where I was still with them, but I found myself secluding myself. I look innocent, please don't judge a book by its cover. I secluded myself and started to brood myself with other people. So what I did, I know some of you will know Nehemiah, my best friend. Some of you know him and all that. So back then, both of us kind of found ourselves trying to get ourselves at the same time. So I just took him as my friend, and that time we started to grow together. So I had a partner in crime in growth, and we were in the same environment, but we were able to brood ourselves in we will spend time, me and him will spend time in our room, and we are discussing. Nehemiah will just come to me and say, "How far, Samuel? In the next 10 years, he said, sometimes he'll be like, at the end of this year, let's see how we can make $10 million. Like, he would all bring huge, big goals, like crazy ones. He would be like, how far? We need to start making dollars now. How far? And we'll be talking about it with all seriousness. We're talking about, this was years before we became serious. We'll be talking about hugely. And with time, our mind started to brood. Me and him will buy books. We bought books that we will read. We'll be listening to podcasts together in the room and be like, how far they hear everything this guy they talk? Oh my, they enter my brain. When that period we're in the forefront, so we could not really carry out the actions, but we're feeding our mind with things that can help us dream far. And those are the things that bettered up some of the things that I am becoming now. And the same thing for himself. So I'm using my personal life as an example of how deliberate feeding of your environment can help tune you. This was during the period that this whole change was possible was during COVID 2020. And that was when it took us from beginning of 2020, I was still the rascal I used to be. Ending of 2020, I was a different person. In the span of 1 year of consistently feeding my mind with the right things, I could not do the things I was doing before. Both spiritually and physically, my mentality had changed. So, in summary of everything I'm saying, the mind of an excellent achiever is someone that is not mediocre at all. And it will take you doing things that are extraordinary to stand out. Every excuse that you have right now is not valid. There is no excuse that is valid. The only excuse you can have is that you are dead. But as far as you are not dead, your excuse is not valid. Cancel whatsoever excuse you have. There is someone else that has the same limitation with you and has succeeded. We have 8.27 billion people on this world, and many of them are in the same situation as you are. But some have made it out. And as far as someone has made it out, you can too. So you just need to start having that mindset that there is no limitation for me. There is no limitation for me. And even if there was a supposed limitation, because of that limitation, I'll work 10 times as hard as every other person to achieve my goal. And with this, I hope I've been able to make you guys understand what it actually means, what it takes to be excellent. Thank you very much.